Welcome to Cox OC Connection. I'm Lacy Kelly and this is Civic Connection. I'm visiting with Kelly Hubbard, who is a program manager for We Rock, and she's going to explain that to us in just a second here. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. So tell us, what is We Rock? It's a long title. I wanted you to explain it.
It is Water Emergency Response Organization of Orange County.
Okay.
We are a program of the Municipal Water District of Orange County, and it's been in existence for about 30 years, and it's an agreement between all of the water and wastewater utilities in the county to work together to coordinate, plan for disasters, respond, and recover together.
Okay, great. Well, we're focused on emergency planning on Cox in this program, so this is great to have you here. Let us know, what are some of the greatest risks that we're dealing with when it comes to water in this county?
Well, I think often the ones that are more likely to occur are the flooding and the fires. I think one of our biggest risks, though, are earthquakes. They have the largest potential for damage to our facilities. When we talk about the impacts to our system, the shaking of the earthquake can cause damage to the actual infrastructure, can cause damage to our treatment facilities. We've put a lot in place, though, in this county as well as in Southern California to try to protect our infrastructure, make it more reliable, so that hopefully we can withstand those disasters a little better.
Okay, so when you're talking infrastructure, you're talking the pipe that delivers the water, the storage systems,
There's a lot of aspects to it.
Okay.
In Orange County, we do receive a lot of our water from import water supply, and so you're talking about the aqueduct that you see when you drive down the 5 freeway,
right,
or the Colorado River system, and that water has to travel a very long way to get to us. Once it gets here, we have our water treatment systems, our pipelines. There's things like pump stations and lift stations and treatment facilities. All of those come together to bring our water to us, as well as to make sure that our wastewater comes away from us.
Right, right. Okay, great. So drought is considered an emergency, I hear. So can you tell us, how is that different than other disasters, and how do you really plan for that?
It's a difficult one. Drought is very long term. It takes a long time for us to really see the impacts of it, and it can take us a long time to recover from it. It's more natural. We can't just sit there and repair a pipe to bring the water back to us. And so it's a very different planning process. Often for the water utilities, it's almost operational. Managing our water supply, working with our residents in our community to make sure they understand the importance of conservation. And then I think also when you look at the county side or the social services side, the impacts to businesses, to the community, and making sure that they're taken care of even if there is a shortage of water.
Okay, and are you working with other agencies other than the water districts?
Always. One of the things that We Rock really prides itself on is, and all of our member agencies, all of the water utilities, we really like to work with the city, the operational area at the county, which is the emergency management group at the county, and working with our partners at the state and federal level for water supply as well as emergency management.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so how prepared are we in Orange County?
I think I'm actually really proud of our water utilities. I think they do a great job at ensuring that their staff know how to do their job. I think they know how to repair the pipes, they know how to fix the infrastructure. And so it's a lot of it is working on building those relationships with the other people that they'll respond with in the community. Making sure that they have the supplies necessary on hand, and those are one of the things that we work on with them is what are those unique critical supplies we might need for a water utility in responding to disaster. We recently received a Homeland Security grant to purchase water trailers, and those water trailers, they're 2,000-gallon trailers, and so if we had an interruption in our water supply, but maybe we have a reservoir that still has water or tank, and so we can move that water with those trailers to the community and where they might need it to provide water to the community.
Nice, so they're just literally rolling water trucks.
They are.
That's comforting to know,
They
because
are.
that is one of the biggest things that you worry about during a natural disaster, is that correct?
Yeah, the supply of water to the community is huge, and there's that gap between when that disaster occurs and when maybe some outside resources might come in, such as FEMA or even some of the private companies that step up and bring bottled water. And so we look at how do we fill that gap? Mm-hmm. And one of the ways we've identified is by having those water trailers and getting that water to the community. The other part is, of course, always encouraging the residents to be prepared themselves, mm-hmm. to have the water supply on hand, to have all of their preparedness kits ready to go, and to keep those things fresh, ready to go, and enhance their own preparedness so that we can just we can step in where there's still that gap.
Right. So what's involved in being prepared as an individual? Where can people go to get more information, and what would that look like?
There are several resources here in Orange County. There's prepareoc.com. I think American Red Cross has some wonderful phone apps. So if you're that tech person who likes to play on your phone, there's some wonderful phone apps about preparedness, earthquake preparedness. And I think the big thing about preparedness is taking small steps. So it is a bit of an investment. It's a time investment, it's an investment in funds, and so taking small steps, keeping an extra case of water in your car that maybe the kids use for soccer, but putting 2 cases in your car. Putting a backpack underneath your bed, in your kid's bed, with an extra pair of shoes and maybe a flashlight, so that when something happens in the middle of the night, they feel comfort, they can grab that flashlight, they can put their shoes on and be able to get out of the house safely. Another aspect that I really like to promote is the communications part, having a family communications plan, knowing how you're going to communicate with your family, knowing how you're going to talk to your kids if they're at school and check in and see if they're okay. One great resource we have here in Orange County is Alert OC. It's a registration system, a communication system. You can go to alertoc.com and register your email and your phone number so that you can get important announcements from the community, from the city, the county. The water districts can communicate through that to give you important information during that disaster.
So some of it's common sense.
Some of it is common sense.
Nice. Okay. Well, Kelly, you've been at this a while. You've been the professional, the recognized professional at We Rock for many years. What is a day in the life for you? What do you spend most of your days doing? Is it planning, interfacing with others?
I would say it's a good mix. We like to build those relationships. So a lot of it is going out in the community, working with the county, other water utilities, working with fire and law to make sure that they understand who we are and we know who they are, so that when we're out in the field responding to those disasters, we have that relationship. That's a big part of my day. The other part of it is actually looking at our emergency plans and our systems. What are we going to do to respond to certain things? One of our concerns is supply chain reliability. What are the key supplies we need as a water utility to respond to disaster? Things like we need gas, not just the community, but we need gas to get our trucks out and about in the community.
Sure.
And so how can we work with the fuel supply companies to ensure that we have the supplies that we need? When we talk about water treatment, we have certain chemicals we rely on and processes and pieces of equipment. And so how can we work with those businesses to ensure that they have a continuity plan, they're ready for their disaster,
right? Because
they're part of the chain, and so we need them to be ready just as much as we are.
Sure. In addition to all those things, you were mentioning the water district. So if they're preparing their infrastructure, does that mean that maybe they have a second delivery line or some sort of backup or storage for water?
In Orange County, we've been working since I got here about 10 years ago. It's kind of amazing to me. About 10 years ago, our backup water supply just within our county, without having to bring any other water in, was around a few weeks, maybe. A few days, actually, maybe up to 5 to 6 days.
Okay.
In this last 10 years, we have increased, we've invested in our infrastructure, we've invested in the reservoirs, our pump stations, and the infrastructure that we have, and we're up to, I would say, 10 to 15 days supply for most of our districts, if not more. And a lot of our districts have a goal of having a lot more supply. They have a goal of up to 30 to 60 days. And it doesn't take too much more to get us there. So continuing to invest in our infrastructure, having water that is a local supply source, not just imported water, because that is a major concern. We're really worried about the fact that a large percentage of our water comes from outside of Orange County. It comes from Northern California and from the Colorado River,
right?
Both in significant drought, as well as that's a huge, a lot of miles that water has to cross to get to us.
Right.
And so there's always a concern about whether or not the security of that, the safety of that, and when I say security, I'm more of the security of it in an earthquake. the reliability of it.
Sure.
And so we work on our local supply and our ability to make sure we have the water we need here.
Okay. How are you guys funded?
Funding for the We Rock program comes from several funding agencies. A good portion of it comes from the Municipal Water District of Orange County.
Okay.
But then we've brought in our other regional partners, Orange County Water District, the Orange County Sanitation District, South Orange County Wastewater Authority, and then the 3 other Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, the 3 other agencies that are here in Orange County: Anaheim, Santa Ana, and Fullerton. And so it's a group effort.
Right.
And it is for the benefit of all of the water and wastewater agencies in Orange County.
So what's your biggest project right now, or what keeps you up at night?
Well, what keeps me up at night is the big earthquake, honestly, the big shaker that will, I mean, no matter how much we put into our infrastructure, the reliability that we work on, the enhancements in our systems are still going to have the potential to break. And so relying on the community to do their own part and being prepared, putting together their emergency supplies, but then making sure that my community, the water community, is prepared, that they've had the training, that they're ready to respond in that case, that all of my staff that help me in that response are ready to do that, even if I'm not here. That's a big part of it, making sure that we're all ready to respond regardless of my position. And so that's what keeps me up at night.
Right. Well, hopefully you won't be kept up at night, and hopefully we'll do well if we have an emergency.
I hope so.
Water is life, so I know it's very important.
Yeah, and our next big efforts will be definitely focusing on the drought and then continuing that preparedness towards those earthquakes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for visiting with us today, Kelly.
Thank you very much.
The work you do is very important, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Cox OC Connection. We'll see you next time.